difference between us is that I can feel pain.
Sounds like a real boogeyman. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy.
There's someone else in the hotel with us. There's a crazy woman in one of the rooms.
It's got a death curse.
This isn't science. It's more like black magic.
Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper.
Hello, my not old friends, and welcome to another edition of Pumpkinhillradio. How we doing, Doss?
Good.
Got Doss in the studio with me. Got Mitch in the studio with me.
Hello there.
I'm your host, Travis Wormwood. As always, we're going to dig into esoteric topics, paranormal weirdness, cryptids, and high strangeness of the highest caliber. All that weird stuff. Before we get into anything fun, though, just got to tell you, rate us 5 stars. Rate us 6 stars if you can. Tell your friends about us and message us any of your paranormal or occult inquiries to pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. You can also request our Discord link there, so go ahead and do that. And finally, just support our Patreon. That's patreon.com/pumpkinhillradio. Get in there for a monthly episode and some other good content. You'll get some free stickers when you join up. There's also a free members space with some bonus content there, so you don't even got to pay. Go and have fun there, though.
You get to be a ghost if you subscribe to Patreon as well.
You get to be a ghost.
Just be the ghost. A ghost co-host.
You get to be the ghost co-host. That is correct,
Yeah.
Mitchell. Yes, if you do subscribe to the Patreon, you get to be you'll get some shout outs throughout the show. And one last quick thing: go ahead and join the Halloween movie calendar. It's a Google calendar. Just check the description. You can add that to your Google calendar, and it's just a list of movies that we're all watching on the same day, and it'll be fun. I'm going to keep that going throughout the year, actually, not just this month, and just kind of post dates of important things as we go. Anything else, Doss? Anything else, Mitch? Before we begin, check the chapters in the description to jump around to wherever you want to go in the episode. Besides that, it's this episode will be releasing October 22nd, Doss. Mitch, it's almost Halloween.
Almost Halloween.
You know what I got? I got a bad case of UFO madness.
Yeah. Dude,
You know, my favorite Halloween decorations are the scary UFOs.
Yeah.
That I'm seeing in the skies all the time.
So with that being said, I have at least 2 UFO stories today.
Yeah, I actually have one of my own.
Yeah, I'm kind of counting yours in there. But,
I like my own personal.
Oh yeah, you got a personal one. Great.
Whoa,
It's like horror this week. Yeah, dude.
And then Mitch,
It's
you
not
might
like
have
crazy,
something
but-
goofy to talk about. Who knows?
I got a couple things.
Before any of that,
Yeah.
though, and Mitch, maybe this bleeds into your segment already, but horror this week / assorted strange.
Yeah.
Anything going on this week, boys?
Well, I saw something strange in the sky. It was a light, and it was kind of like got brighter and brighter, and then it got dimmer, and it disappeared. Just kind of floating across the sky.
How big was that?
It looked like it was about the size of a star. When at its brightest, it was like the brightest star probably.
Okay, so we're talking like way the fuck out there.
Yeah, it wasn't huge.
Huh.
It was just a little thing. You know,
Not-
a lot of people would say it's a satellite, but satellites don't feel like bright and dim like that. Maybe they do.
Well, there's the what are they? Is it the 5 observables? Did you notice any of the 5 observables?
What's that?
Oh, geez, Mitch, please tell us what the 5 observables
is
I don't
that?
know all 5 off the top of my
You
head.
name like 2 or 3.
One of them is
Hey,
like
what?
like sudden movement,
Oh.
like impossible movement.
Erratic.
Like
Yeah,
if something will like stay still and then like suddenly shoot the fuck way
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Like, and then another one is like that's the only one I remember off the top of
Probably
my
like a certain
dome, to be
speed.
honest.
Probably like sound or.
Yeah, that's one.
I gotta
if there's
imagine
no sound.
if there's 5 observables, might be the 5 senses. Am I
If
wrong?
they're
Yeah.
no,
To a point.
there's no
You can
sniffing
smell- you can
involved.
smell
Because there's a
that.
smell.
Uh,
That ozone smell is
Yeah,
very
I can
common.
Smell the UFO.
Yeah, well, it's sulfur or whatever, but
Well, a
that's
lot
not
of
like
them.
it's like if you see something in the sky, there's like 5 like indicators that it's not something that's currently possible or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't quite know, but
Well, bring that
Yeah.
as a show until next time.
yeah.
It looked interesting.
Huh.
Whatever I saw.
That's like when I like a few weeks ago I was working that other job. I was taking that trash out to the dumpster and I saw something next to the moon that was really bright, and then I went out like 20 minutes later and it was like just gone.
Yeah.
But it wasn't moving at all, and it was not a satellite. And
Yeah,
it was
see,
like
this
it was
is
like the
you know,
brightest
like
star
the
in the sky.
dim-
It seemed like
Yeah,
it
the
was like,
dim small satellites that kind of like cruise.
Yeah.
It was kind of moving like that, but it was like blinking almost, and then it just kind of faded out.
Huh.
And it wasn't any clouds, so I
Um,
don't know.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Can't wait
I
to
don't
dig
know,
into
man.
UFOs. I
That's
got
a
some
di-
juicy UFO stuff today, boys.
Definition of a UFO.
Yeah, I could not identify it
You know what else happened this week for me?
with that.
And Dawes, this was a kind of a snafu last episode. I could not place when Smile 2 was releasing and when my early premiere was. I went to an early screening like 4 days before it released, and there was like even like an embargo on like talking about it for like 2 days, so I couldn't even mention about it. But I wish I would have just recorded the whole thing on my iPhone or something. You know? We would have really got some numbers. I think we would have
made news.
We would have made some news. We would have literally made news finally. Yeah, that would have been good.
We are viral on that.
Next time you let me into a movie, I'm taking video just so you know. Any
allegedly in Minecraft.
That's what you say these days to keep it all good on the stream in Minecraft. But Smile 2, I believe it released so we are recording a few days earlier than this is releasing, but the movie should be out by now. Go see it if you haven't. See the first one first so you can kind of get a clue into what it is, but this second one does a really awesome job of building off the lore and getting... there were some gross out parts, but it was just like the psychological nature of it all. It's kind of, you're in this woman's head and you just don't know what's real like the entire time, and it works really well.
Get me fucked up.
Yeah, and then like near the end it gets really cosmic horror-y with like some like otherworldly forces at play, which really were great, you know? Like it reminded me of like something on this podcast. They were like talking about metaphysical beings, and they were like, you can call them demons if you want, but it's like more than that. It's something else, you know.
Yeah.
So they were kind of they're dealing in like that, like parallel like things like that, which was cool. I was like, nice.
That's like it's almost too real.
The old gods.
The old gods. So that was Smile 2, and afterwards, a little bonus story. We went to Dave & Buster's. It was right next door. We had bonus tokens and coins from a previous time we were there. Spent like an hour in there. I got a really nice Torchic.
I saw a picture of that. Yeah,
pictures because I've been cuddling it the past few nights, and I started playing Pokemon Emerald because of it again. Then Maya got a Care Bear prize. It's like a nice stuffed pink Care Bear.
Which one?
Pink one with the rainbow on its belly. I'm not a Care Bear aficionado. Yeah, so I don't know its name.
Bear? I know they have names.
I don't know the name. Pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com for the name, please.
Stink Bear.
That was, that wasn't really horror related. That was just fun. Oh, Maya did the claw machine, and it was like the one where it just picks out
tickets.
Like the ticket grabber.
Yeah.
She grabbed like 4 different clusters of them in one, so she got like 2,000 tickets in one go, which was very good.
Hell yeah!
If you've been to Dave & Buster's, you know that's
that's high.
Big.
That immediately paid for the Care Bear.
Yeah, that paid. Yeah, immediately.
That's the movie though mostly for me was wonderful. And that was all because we worked at that Creepatorium horror thing. We got those tickets. We got tickets to that show. It was like, it just showed me like just trying to put myself out there, do my own thing. Really like immediately paid off. Like it paid for itself immediately. And I'm like, I was like, this is just big ups to Loki this year. I think for me, as I've been saying all year, this trickster god has been on my side.
Shout out Segan.
Yeah, and Segan.
Don't forget Segan.
Beautiful wife of Loki. She's really there holding him at bay and keeping him in check in a good way. And helping him out. Keeping the poison off his face. Check the Greek. No. Check the North. I think we did some studies on him earlier.
Yeah.
I think he snuck into the Greek stuff even though he's from the North. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just there's similarities.
Yeah.
With, like Prometheus and all that.
Anything else? Any horror this week for you, Mitch?
I've been watching a show that nobody has fucking watched apparently because it's so hard to find, but it's worth it in my opinion, and it's called From. Worst name of a show ever.
Hard to Google.
It's literally just called From.
Even if you look up like From TV show, it's just gonna be
like what from a TV show?
TV From this year.
Yeah. I've been Googling From series. That works. So there's a hot tip, but don't Google it because it's like a mystery box show, and it's from the producers of Lost, which was one of my favorite shows as like a young adult or like a teenager and becoming a young adult. I remember watching Lost with my mom, waiting for the Netflix DVDs to come in.
Nice.
You get like 4 episodes every fucking like however long it took, like a week. So it took us like 3 or 4 years to watch the whole fucking thing. But it's from the same guys. People hate Lost. This is pretty cool. It's got one of the same actors. If you've seen Lost, Michael is the main character in this show.
Nice.
Where are you streaming this, Mitch?
It is on Amazon, but you have to have like an MGM Plus fucking thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
It's a
Like it's
whole
like
thing.
it's like a bitch to do. So I got like the free trial.
Plans
of
within
MGM.
plans.
Yeah.
So I like
subscriptions within subscriptions.
Yeah, it's insane.
Amazing.
Although for some reason my Amazon Prime hasn't charged me for the past like 3 years.
It's probably hooked up to a different card.
No, I remember
That's what I
I
think
lost
about
my
a lot of
wallet
stuff.
here at your house, and I deleted all those cards. So I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Someone's being in charge.
Somebody is. I don't. It's not me.
I promise you, Netflix is not
Thanks,
taking
Jeff
any-
Bezos.
Yeah,
or it's
Jeff Bezos.
Amazon.
Jeff's looking
but
into this.
yeah, I don't know, but
Jeff's
it's
like,
it's
saw it
really
happen,
really
he's got
good.
you.
But like it's hard to talk about without spoilers because it's a mystery box show. Like everything is like really mysterious. But the main premise is that there's a family, husband and wife, and a daughter and a son, who are driving an RV.
Classic nuclear
And
family,
they-
am I right?
They come across a tree across the middle of the road, so they can't pass it. They don't have saws. They can't like cut it and like try to keep going.
They ain't from
So they
around
turn
here.
around to try to get back on the highway, but they end up back at the tree. But they like drive through this little shit ass town where a bunch of people are just like staring at them, and
Yeah, they ain't from
they're like,
around
"Where the
here."
fuck do we go?" And nobody says anything. So they're like, "Let's try to go again." They try to leave again. They come back around back to the same town. They're stuck there.
Oh, I've seen this.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen this.
Are you sure?
Yeah, or like something with that exact same premise.
Okay,
Somebody,
but
coming to a.
But like without this isn't really spoilers because it happens in the first episode. But like at night, monsters come out and like trick the people that live there by like taking the form of like somebody else. Like they look like people, but some of them look like people throughout history. Like there's like a Civil War vet and like an old milkman monster. But they're like vampires. Like but they kill you in the most gruesome way. They disembowel you alive, basically.
Ew.
But they can't get you if you have this secret talisman that you hang in front of your door. So they can't get inside if you have this protective, like rock engravement thing hanging from your door.
Nice.
And it's really fucking good. There's a lot of like, it's like kind of like a drama more than like horror, like a character drama. But it's still spooky, and there's like a lot of like weird like questions that kind of get answered, but it's like waiting for the questions to get answered. It's really fucking good.
Lost.
Yeah, it's like Lost, but it's already like given more answers than Lost has.
And we're back from a very short break. Had a bit of a. Mitchell pointed out it was not, in fact, a technical difficulty, more of a hardware situation.
Actually,
So thanks for that point out, and thanks for dropping the.
The recommendation for From, you gotta
Yes.
watch
Yeah.
it.
Yes,
It's
you
very,
all
very
have
good.
to watch it now.
Yeah.
Do you boys want to get into the UFO madness? You want a
Yeah.
taste of this UFO madness?
I might have if it's gonna be a long thing. I have one more thing. Because you mentioned you were
got?
playing Pokemon earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way.
Nice.
Do
recently there was leaks to Pokemon lore. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With the whole human Pokemon
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So there's like a
What?
lore story where apparently it's from a while ago because this involves Gen 2 Pokemon. But some of the leaks are kind of funny. Like it'll be before Gen 3, so Zigzagoon wasn't even a Pokemon. But there's like funny like pictures of like Zigzagoon, like oh that's cute. And then you get to like some stories, and there's a story of a little girl who gets tricked by a Typhlosion, which if you don't know is the final evolution of the Gen 2 fire starter, Cyndaquil. And he's a big
Nerd.
yeah.
Whoa.
And he's a big like fire ferret looking motherfucker. But basically this Pokemon tricks this little girl because he changes form into a human ish looking thing, and she like comes with him to this cave, and then he impregnates her.
Ooh, hot.
And then they have a baby, and
Nice.
then like her father comes and like kills the
Nice.
Typhlosion, and so she's back at the village with her like mutant baby, and the village kicks him out, and that's just like the end of it. Which apparently is how I looked it up, and it was
Animal human hybrids.
animal human hybrid type thing.
Yeah,
but like
dude.
there's like a lot of like Japanese lore about like it's like apparently like a trope in like Japanese mythology.
Yeah, it sounds like a classic trickster spirit type
the
thing.
trickster spirit, yeah, like a kitsune or whatever the hell they call them. But it's
Ghost
not.
fox.
They call it like Mujina, I think, or something like that. It's like Mujina. I don't know how to say it. But
That's
like
that's a specific.
that's the
yokai.
name of like the spirit.
That's you're just talking about a yokai at this point, then, right?
It is
Japanese
a yokai, but like it's called like a Mujin.
Yeah,
or
nice.
something. But then I like read another story about one where like a guy's hiking in the mountains, doing something, and then he finds like a woman crying at a stream, and she like covers her face, and then rubs her face, and then her face is like gone, and he freaks out, and then he runs down the road, and then there's like a traveling merchant who he finds on the road running back scared, and the traveling merchant's like, whoa, are you hurt? Is there anybody hurt? And he's like, no. And he's like, oh, did you just get scared? And the guy's like, yeah, it scared me. And then the merchant rubbed his face, and then he's also one. His face like comes off. Very interesting. It was like a 10-minute read of a short story, but apparently like this fucking fucked up Pokemon shit has some like basis in Japanese lore.
Yeah, I'm sure we've covered faceless people here before.
Yeah, but it's just like fucking like jarring because it's like a fucking kids game. But apparently there's like a bunch of other shit too. I didn't really read too much into all of it, but like the leak was like crazy. There's a bunch of like dark ass shit. Like Pokemon was like getting fucked up. Apparently, before they were like, okay, maybe we should like.
They didn't know the tone. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, what are we actually doing?
Oh,
here?
like kids in Japan talk about the fucking faceless
shit.
bestiality shit all the time. It's not. I mean, I'm sure they don't, but
it's hard to market that to American families.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that was interesting.
Nice. So
and it's also very.
Mitch recommends this show, and he recommends what Pokemon porn. Then is
that... I'm sure there's porn of it now, but
check it out. So, why don't you hit our inbox with that?
Yeah, hit Mitchell's. What's
Mitchell's inbox?
I'm not giving away. Yeah, my phone number is
text Mitchell with these links.
Well, thanks for bringing those nice stories to the table, Mitch. Pokemon's weird, huh?
That reminded me. Austin was talking to me about. Because we were talking about like the Japanese like floating heads and flying heads, and he was like, "You guys were talking about." He like called it something I forgot.
Yeah, he knows the name of these things.
He's like, "Yeah, you guys talked about that."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, man." Because he knows all about that shit too. We'll get him on it.
Yeah, we definitely will. Shout out Austin.
We'll get you on. Ciao.
Let's get into this UFO shit.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
If I go any longer with this UFO madness, I'm gonna tear the whole thing down.
Already.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to get my story out of
We're landing. Okay, so
gotta get that out.
Okay, this is one of the most significant and well-documented UFO encounters in Italian history, all right? This is sometimes referred to as the Italian Travis Walton case. If you're not familiar with that, you got to go to a different podcast. We don't even cover that weak shit. Just kidding, I get it.
I mean, that's a classic.
It's a classic.
You go to Roswell, the Roswell UFO Museum, that's like one of the big ones you see there.
I just can't. We're just... episode 400.
This point, if you don't know the Travis Walton story and you're listening, I mean...
It's crazy how you found this thing anyway.
Yeah.
Then, but,
you should know about that.
Very famous. Anyway, so this is called the Zanfretta UFO encounters from 78 to 81. All right. In the quiet hills of Torriglia, Italy, a series of encounters forever changed the life of this dude named Fortunato Zanfretta. Okay. This began on December 6th, 1978, when on a cold winter night, Pier Fortunato Zanfretta, a 26-year-old private security guard, was on his routine patrol. As Zan, I'm going to call him Zan. As Zan steps out of his vehicle, he saw 4 strange lights moving in the garden. Thinking they were flashlights of thieves, he drew his gun and moved in to investigate. All right. As he rounded the corner, though, he did not see humans. He saw what he described as creatures standing over 10 feet tall with green, scaly skin and yellow triangular eyes. Their heads were pointed and oversized, and they wore dark suit-like clothing. Doss, does that remind you of anything specifically, that description?
Yeah.
That's like also one type being, this like pointed hat thing with like
Sandown clown.
With like a dark suit. Yeah, we talked about pointed hats on specifically
this is something these like reports go like, I don't know. There's like so many different stories I hear of like people talking about like different reports and like seeing things, and they're like, yeah, it was weird. It had like a weird hand, like it didn't have feet. And like, it had like a weird like helmet on.
Well, let me tell you,
like shit
these
like
things
that.
have feet. All right, these things.
Yeah.
Zan watched as one of the beings actually reached out and touched Zan with the device, causing him to float towards a large hot vessel.
Okay.
All right, this is again something like that happened in also one basically where he's just like floating with this alien.
Just hits
thing.
you with like the beam.
Yeah,
The anti-gravity
device.
yeah, basically.
Beam.
At around 11:30 p.m., Zanfretta's. Let's see. Okay, so I forgot to mention how he was even outside of this garden is because his car died outside this house that he was like checking on, and like the engine and headlights just inexplicably died.
That's
just turned out.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
probably
so many.
Probably didn't realize, but he probably lost like 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was he lost a ton of fucking time.
True.
Yeah, day maybe.
He lost a ton of time because he got out and he checked on them at 11:30. Then at 1:15 a.m., Zanfretta reached out through his radio transmission reached the control center, and he sounded fucking fearful and he was like stuttering, but he managed to eke out that he saw something quote unquote dreadful. Right. When his colleagues arrived, they found Zan in a state of shock. His clothes were warm despite the freezing temperatures. His gun had been fired with 4 bullets missing.
Cool. Sounds familiar.
It's just fucking weird. The car, here's another thing, Doss. The car was found 100 meters from the road, inexplicably hot to the touch. It had dents and other marks that Zan claimed were not there before his encounter. Strange, large footprints were discovered nearby. Right? So, in the also one case in Montana in 73, actually, is this the same fucking year?
It's 70.
This is 5 years later.
Right? Well, the story I have too is from 76.
Yeah, this is the same year. The 70s were rife with this stuff. We covered a bunch of UFO 70s stuff even last episode.
Well, even like also one was like 71.
That was 73, I think, and then the Countdown Clown was 78. So, but okay. So
those are like early 70s for sure.
How are his clothes hot?
Yeah.
What is that?
Why is anything hot? Why is everything hot to the touch?
What is that?
Excess radiation, maybe.
Yeah, like I'm even trying to like reach for like a human answer. Like,
well,
some sort of frequency.
First thought that came to my head was he's just like has a fever because he's freaking out. Body heat.
Just high.
Okay.
Heart rate.
Like residual body heat.
For sure. Car's hot too.
That's just like.
Car's hot too, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's just the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just reaching for trying to find any logical answer at all.
Yeah, good rational explanation. You know, the car like overheated and like died, and then that's why it's just hot for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though.
Like what was hot?
That doesn't really make any sense.
The whole hood of the whole fucking thing.
If the hood was like the not only thing that was like if the rest of the car besides the hood was hot, that's hard to explain.
If the passenger door is hot.
Yeah.
The back doors are hot.
Yeah.
It did not say specifics. I think that pointing it out means that it wasn't just the fucking hood.
That's what I would assume.
That's what I don't think you'd point that out at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
okay.
appeared
So
100 meters away.
Yeah, well, he lost like an hour and a half there. He went there at 11:30, then he radioed back at 1:15.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was he like in a field or some shit? Like
no,
off the road?
he went into a garden where these 4 creatures were.
Yeah.
And then he got touched with a device that made him float off the fucking ground towards some like vessel that he also described as hot. And then he lost a bunch of time in there. And then he comes out and he's all fucking hot.
Oh yeah.
You think like
getting experimented on?
His car moved because like in that time he was gone. He was kind of like in like just like a different space time. So when it appears, it's like a slightly like the Earth moved under it, basically.
Yeah, like the car was taken.
I'm trying to like scientifically imagine this.
Well, in the also one case, he loses his car. Remember, his car is
it
found
was like
in the middle
another
of a swamp with no tire tracks going toward it.
Yeah, like way further than where he parked.
There was like trees all around it, like it got placed there and shit. Like there was nothing. It didn't even look like he like drove through. Like there was no like ruinage on his car.
Well, it's one of those like theories with like time travel where like you time travel and like it doesn't account for like the moving
rotation
of the Earth, the rotation of the Earth. So you're gonna end up in like
that's what it is.
Maybe the middle of the ocean or inside of a brick wall or something. Like
no, definitely. Or just like if he got taken up and then they fucking took the
whole car
with him. Then it's like then they just placed it back wrong. Like that's almost what I think when I see the also one case.
It's like
too,
close enough.
That's what I was gonna say.
It just seems like they had to place it somewhere. Remember in the also one case also they don't just abduct the guy. There's also like 4 elk that are in the area and they all get taken up with him.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Back on track here. Dr. Renzo Cabassi, a respected UFO researcher, looked into the case. All right. Zan underwent hypnosis sessions, revealing consistent and detailed accounts of his encounter.
Nice.
All right. It's like He described strange instruments, screens with symbols being moved around, things like that. He passed multiple lie detector tests about his experiences, and over the next 3 years, Zan reports at least 11 encounters with these beings. All right, so now I have all the other fucking reports. We're not done there at all. July 30th, 6 months later, this is 1979 now. This is 6 months after the initial encounter. Zan claimed to be abducted again. This time, he described being inside a hot, illuminated room within the alien craft. The beings allegedly spoke to him about cosmic concerns and their interest in Earth. Okay? They said that they were interested in our planet and the animal realm. Okay? Planet and animal realm. Again, with the Also One case, picking up the elk wasn't a mistake. They were actually collecting the meat of the animals.
They're doing something with it.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what all this is at all. So, something about even just the food source on Earth seems to be like something that they come for, wherever they're coming from.
Researching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They talked about a third eye that humans possess but don't use. Yeah, classic. That's just like a classic thing that they said. It's like wrung dry, pretty much. Okay, within the same year, just the winter now, December 2nd, about fucking 5 or 6 months later, at 11:45 p.m., Zan was on duty again, patrolling the area around Torregula. He radioed into headquarters to report his position. The next thing Zan knew, he found himself in a different location with no memory of how he got there. When he checked his watch, he is shocked to discover it was now 3:30 a.m. That's like 4 hours, basically. Anything weird about that? Yeah. Okay. He also reported being taken to a large red-colored planet. He described crystalline structures and gave details about the aliens' home world. He said the planet was very hot. There were structures like pyramids with semi-transparent material. They told him they came from the third galaxy, whatever the fuck that means. That sounds like the bullshit, but I mean. But okay, again, Austin in the Also One case 5 years earlier in the 70s, and these cases would not have. This is literally a niche case from Italy. 5 years after this other random case in Montana, which is the Also One case. Yeah. These weren't like cross-pollinated. Like nobody saw this report then. This wasn't like nobody was making YouTube shorts of this shit.
Yeah.
Like the local
like
information
viral.
Travels a
the
little slowly.
Extremely towny news.
It's like
of
maybe
Montana
it was in the local
Italy,
news
in these little places in Italy. Yeah, exactly. If anything.
And there were probably like a crazy man.
Yeah.
Figures out.
Yep. So, but he's talking about going to a planet. He's talking about like these giant, like semi-see-through structures. That's literally what is talked about in the Also One case too, which is like so far-fetched. Like now we're talking about somehow getting to another planet in time. But I'm just like, just as far as the reports go, they just are matching up to some extent. Yeah, it's just again like what
it's
is
like
this?
Bizarre. It's all so bizarre in like it's like the same bizarreness though.
In that same time period, in that 4 hour time period he was gone, dispatch was looking for him the entire time.
Yeah.
They couldn't find him. Just couldn't fucking find him. All right. April 13th, 1980, 5 months later, Zan was found in a state of shock with burn marks on his clothes. He claims the alien had given him a golden sphere as proof of their existence. The sphere was allegedly confiscated by senior officials and never seen again. I want this sphere.
In Italy.
Yeah.
That sounded like the fucking Vatican took that shit, man.
Yeah. They definitely did.
Yeah.
They definitely did. Thanks for pointing that out, Mitch. That's 100% true. I'm going to say right here.
Yeah. 100% Vatican has...
Fact checked by real Pumpkinhillradio
correspondent. My source made it up. That's why I'm saying it's fact. All right, let's go.
Like that. But you're right. Like, especially stuff over there. Like, where is it going? It's going directly to these vaults under the Vatican where they have tons of alien tech, tons of all this bizarre, old, like...
At least accounts.
The Vatican is also that's like the intelligence agency over there, basically. Yeah. That's like the FBI, CIA shit.
Well, here. Remember we had stories a long time ago now about, like, 2 vials of Jesus' blood housed in silver containers. Like, those are there, buddy. Like, that's where that kind of stuff is. Like, that's where, like, the quote-unquote Holy Grail is. And, like, what that is. It's not like it's a golden set.
Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah. Which, remember, that came up, like, 2 episodes ago. What was said to be inside that fucking thing? I remember...
Some sort of, like, a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, the way it's described is, like, very similar to, like, a nuclear weapon.
Yeah. So maybe it's this, like, gold sphere.
Like, it makes people, like, just dissolve instantly. Yeah. Like, you turn to bone.
Well, it's even in Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones.
That shit's in the first 3, or I guess it'd be the first 3 Assassin's Creed games, dude.
Mm-hmm.
At least Assassin's Creed 2 is, like, the 2 after that have the same character. I don't know. But he's an Italian guy. And it's about fucking, like, otherworldly beings. They must have, like, read this shit.
Well, it's just it's literally built
It's
into
so-
the human DNA.
it's
Like,
so
at this point,
common.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the storyline of
It's-
those like crazy fucking games.
People a lot of times say like Spielberg makes these kind of movies to like put- it's,
Yeah, like
working
soft
with the government to,
disclosure.
soft disclosure base. That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's the predictive programming kind of shit where
yeah.
like
No. So that just kind of fits right in
plants
there.
these seeds so we can like actually comprehend it when
Yeah.
it happens.
So
And
yeah.
a lot of people think it's gonna happen soon.
Uh-huh.
We're in the days.
I've heard 2027.
Yeah, it's like
There's
But
a lot of
like
dates getting
any
thrown around.
anybody that,
2025, 2030.
anybody that says like a date definitively, I'm like,
It's
eh.
always off,
that's tough.
but it's coming, man.
All right, August 13th. Let me say a date for you. August 13th, 1980. All right, Zan describes
Good
seeing
year.
a different
Same
type
guy?
of being. Yep, this is all dude. This is all the one dude within 3 years. Fucking like 10 reports in 3 years. He reports seeing a different type of being though. It was the same,
Did it-
about 10 feet.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did that guy like was he able to describe what that craft looked like that he was like brought to?
Like the inside.
Just like what the outside, anything about it.
He just said it was. He said it was a hot vessel. I don't
That's
know.
it.
I feel like
That's
maybe
all
it was kind of undescript. Like in the Ossa one
Yeah,
thing, he
yeah.
just says it's like this weird like. Remember, he was so bad at
It was a
describing
present.
things. He was saying it was like a present, like a
It's
big
like a Christmas
square.
present. And
Yeah.
then he said the Earth looked like a basketball.
Yeah. So.
So.
But that's just to say, like, you're not going to describe that and also have the most insane alien adventure in 1 second.
no,
Like,
exactly.
you can't have both of those. So, yeah, I don't know if I have any specifics on it besides that it was a bright, hot vessel.
Okay.
Maybe it's like if we're talking about like Google Blitz black hole, like a 5D shape type of. It sounds like if they're going back to a planet, it's not really a ship at all. It's it's like a wormhole. It's like a gate almost. I would say that's being able that's taking you to that place, taking you to these different rooms. That's why it'd be so bright and maybe hot, and like that's maybe he's not describing because it's just you just don't see it, I think you just being around that kind of technology, you just live as 5 hours, like no matter what. You're just that's just what's gonna happen to your reality.
Just wondering because I got some details in my
Yeah,
the Wheeler story.
definitely, and I know Wheeler gives a better description of his, but we're not done on Zan yet.
He more
this
just
guy's-
saw the thing than
Yeah.
George Wheeler more just saw a thing than
Mhm.
like be abducted by it.
Yeah, this
They
guy
saw it a few times, so. But continue.
Yeah, no,
That's
yeah.
really
So again, August 13th, 1980. This is still within 2 years. He reports seeing a slightly taller 10-foot being. I think he described the other one as 10 feet, but they were all like I think even
That's
slightly
so
taller.
big.
Yeah. This thing's head was covered by a helmet or a dark visor or something, and then it showed Zan a device that looked a little bit like a camera, and apparently just like took a picture of him or whatever, like pointed some kind of shape at him and made it flash. Whatever that means, that might be something completely different. I would say.
Men in Black type shit.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, obviously he didn't lose his memory, but
December 5th.
Well, parts of it.
Yeah.
He did until it was like the regression.
Yeah.
Shit,
December 5th, 1980. I don't mean to just throw all these at you. There's just so many reports of this. It's like we just got to get through these so I can show you this. Yeah. December 5th, 1980, exactly 2 years after the first encounter, Zan claims to receive a warning. All right. They told Zan that they would return in increasing number. All right. They said they were concerned about the Earth's future and human violence. That comes up in like almost everything, basically. Like
pretty much any
movie.
channeler.
There was
says that
the most documented. One of the most documented ones is the
Aerial School.
The Aerial School.
That's okay.
Because they because they dropped that on him too.
I was meaning to. I just googled it because I couldn't remember the name of it. But I was gonna bring that up when you said earlier in like the late 70s or whatever, when he said that the aliens were talking about like their interest in like Earth and shit.
I know,
and like
that's even
all the kids were like saying like, oh, they said that like we have to like look out for the environment and shit, like we're fucking shit up. And it sounds like kind of the same deal here.
That's kind of what the Ossa
but like
one
20,
was like
30
that.
years earlier.
Also, one was similar to that, and then Phil Schneider, he also talks about that. It's like there's like a war going on with these like other species, basically these other races of like aliens,
factions of
yeah, and it's like a lot of it's happening like underground,
and
like the dumbs and all that shit. But he's like, yeah, there's some that are like worried for like humanity's like own violence, like because it's like the thing is like they've always been around. And then around like World War II, when we started doing nukes, they like got activated. They started like interfering more, and they're like, okay, we gotta like touch these people a little bit.
Settle down a bit, guys. Yeah. Right.
I also think it's like it could be a similar thing to like how like Dune has like these like they like send down like religious lore,
like
basically.
embassies, yeah,
to like create like this like
stuff,
spiritual shift and like I don't know, to open
Yeah.
up like for.
No,
like, a
you're
new
right. You're right. It's like,
way.
how does that
They're
actually
like
get
guiding
perceived?
us into like this like new.
Like, how does that get
era.
perceived by the public when like you hear about one person like
Yeah,
having
yeah.
this
And
event?
that's, like,
it,
what,
it
like-
gets perceived like this.
That's
We're
like
doing
what
right now.
Jesus,
It's like,
Muhammad, Buddha, all these things were like these like, you know, basically Reverend Mother figures that come down to like seed these like spiritual beliefs, so people have like faith in something. So when they actually come, like one again or whatever, it's like we have like some way of like perceiving this consciously.
yeah,
Through
just
like
at
a
least-
lens of like this like faith religion thing.
Yeah, and it's just like it's how like, people can kind of throw stones at it because it's like that's such a almost like obvious thought, and it's like it is obvious, and we're not doing it. So like people are coming in from out of bounds to be like, stop, please.
Like you guys got to stop blowing each other
like
up.
yeah, there's 1,000 realities layered over.
Shouts
Earth
out,
here. Don't
shouts
fuck them
out
all
Ronan
up.
the Rat.
Yeah, shouts out
Figuring
Ronan.
out those minds.
He's doing the best
Dude,
he can.
true.
He's
He's
doing-
literally doing God's work.
He's doing what these angels are telling us.
apopo.org, quick plug for nonprofit
Yeah.
here. apopo.org.
Yeah,
It's
just
hero
relevant.
rats disarming landmines in third world countries. Look
we
it
need
up.
more of that. We need
Check the
less
description.
missiles hitting buildings
Yes.
and children.
Yeah. And that's like literally so often these discussions do become like, we just got to be better.
Yeah.
You know, all the time in this metaphysical space, we're just like, if we could just not.
As a human collective, and like the way I mean, not to like get too crazy, because it's like, we gotta all do better. It's like we gotta like start small though. We gotta like start with our own like small communities. If we all get strong little like communities separate from each other, and then we can like grow
Start
from
to
there.
build it
Like
out.
it's
That's
like
that's
what it
one
is.
of the reasons why, like, when people are like, "Oh, this shit's a psyop. This shit's a psyop." That's why I think like some of it, like obviously there's like some like shit where people are just grifting or whatever.
Mhm.
But like if the message of like don't be a fucking asshole or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, to put it in like stupid ass terms,
Mhm.
if that's like carried throughout a bunch of these stories, I don't think that part is a psyop because the
if
fucking
you can boil it down to that, that's like how I know something's kind of like true.
yeah, that wouldn't be the psyop that
Of like
the fucking like whoever the fuck is like the man in
Trying
the
to
high
secretly
tower. They
push
my
wouldn't
thing-
want
Peace
that. They would
work
want the
instead, yeah.
opposite.
Well, that's the thing
you
is,
know?
I think
Definitely.
like the psyop part too, because there's you know, if there's a one that's like cares about us and wants the planet to do well, there's probably some that don't probably want us to get, you know, clear us out.
Oh, true.
So like I think there's like that's why there's like
We'll do a full episode of like guiding
full-
us through like the 5 main alien races at some point, so we can really
Dude,
talk about the tactics
I
involved.
was listening to this thing this guy was talking about. He has a book. It's like 82. He's like, yeah, there's hundreds though.
Yeah, well, subspecies, robotic species, all this
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
The like galactic
yeah,
federation.
yeah.
We'll
'Cause
save
there's like
that
the
for
channelers.
soon,
There's a
though.
channeler. He
Yeah.
was channeling.
We'll save that for an episode very soon. That's
Yeah.
coming up for
We're
you,
gonna get into
listener.
this.
Just to close out Zan's story, though, before
Yeah,
we
yeah.
get into the George Wheeler UFO sighting, just the consistency of Zan's accounts under hypnosis and being corroborated by testimonies from his colleagues just gives him a little bit of credibility,
Well,
at least.
The parallels with like other stories. Too,
Yeah, that's
of,
what
like
it-
similar like
Mhm.
messages and like vibes and
His
just, like,
story-
unexplainable.
Yeah, his story really hasn't
Details.
changed. Zan was last known to be living in Genoa, Italy.
Mm.
He's resided there for many years after the alleged encounters. Alleged, I say, they happened. And he put out a book in 2008. Here's the thing, also, when you look at any kind of like quote unquote grifting in the paranormal world, it's like, are they making money off it? Are they making a book? Are they doing tours? He did a few TV things right in the beginning, just like local spots to be like, this is what's going on in my head right now.
Yeah.
He didn't write a book until 2008. So literally 40 years later, he has a book titled Glee Invasi, The Invaded. Okay, that kind of details his experience.
I imagine someone was like found about
Somebody
the story and were like,
pushed it,
you got to
yeah.
write this down.
It was just somebody like us that were like, can we just
Please-
put this out? Yeah.
Please
It's
just
like, all
publish
right,
it?
I'll put your name on it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that's what the TV stuff was too.
Yeah.
There's like a reporter that's like, oh, here's a story.
Yeah, he would give.
You don't get
Don't
paid.
bother this guy.
You don't get paid to be on the local news.
No,
or
yeah.
whatever.
He gave a few interviews and appeared on like Italian local television to discuss his encounters. But his last widely reported public appearance was in 2010, and really he's gone really private about his experiences. He really limits public appearances right now. So
Oh, he's still alive?
he's in his early 70s. I actually could not confirm or deny if he was currently alive.
Okay.
Because
So
it
he
seems
like
just-
really went.
That means he's probably alive.
He's like,
Yeah, he's out. But it would be he was born in 54, so he'd be in his early 70s right now.
Yeah.
He's just gone really dark about stuff, which I don't know, but it's not like he made any He didn't make any fucking money off this thing. It just seemed like it probably ruined his
I'm
life.
not seeing him on like podcasts.
Well,
and
he's
shit.
probably like sick of it at this point. You know, after a while, it's like, all right, well, I moved on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what else could you do?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that
you
shit
can-
happened.
Yeah, you can do the book. I mean, for me, I'm doing a book tour. I'm doing a press release. I am making money off it. Only if it's genuine, though. You know, it's like I'm like
sending,
because I know that I'll be going.
I'm trying to
insane.
spread that message. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, if somebody's
Which
literally
like
coming to be
already
like,
trying to, but
If
you know.
somebody's coming to me with a message like world peace, it's like, oh yeah, I'll throw my hat in the ring for that.
yeah.
I'll try.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, you never know because there's, you know, it's easy to say that, but as soon as like you got black SUVs following you around and like shit like that, people like
I think
sliding things under your door saying
Buddy,
like shut the fuck up.
We've been getting that for months now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know, it's like all right,
maybe not, but honestly, I don't know. Just some weird stuff.
I always keep my.
I'd like see my mouse move without me touching it. Sometimes it feels like, but that's just like me going absolutely nuts, you know.
No, yeah.
You might need your desk.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much the end of that story, as far as I had it. Again, that is the. Let me just get the full name. That's the Zanfretta UFO encounters between 78 and 81. So we're just filling in more weird stuff in the 70s and like specifically UFO stuff and very different parts of the world again. From Montana to Italy, the Sandown Clown was in the Great Britain area. All in this time, it's like those kind of stories are not going to get passed around like that. They just aren't at that time period. Doss, I know that you brought a story to the table you want to talk about, the George Wheeler UFO
I got the
sighting.
George Wheeler UFO sighting. So
do you want to go over that a little bit? I have a whole bunch of shit on it, but if you have some stuff.
Well, I'll just get some details going. And if you have some more too, we can just get into it. But so George Wheeler, police officer from Elmwood, Wisconsin. So Elmwood's like 60 miles away from the Mississippi River. He's like, this is like around where we're from.
Yeah, like central, like south central Wisconsin.
Yeah. In the town of like less than 1,000 people, 1-man police force. So like, this is just kind of like your like small town, no nonsense, like Wisconsin guy. You know, he's not. He's just out here, normal ass guy.
Man of the law.
Doing
his job.
Trying to keep, peace in town.
Night patrol in the sleepy little town. Dawes, I have a tiny little write-up I want you all to read. I'm casting for 2 parts. I have a Wheeler and a Dispatch.
Okay.
Who's the Wheeler?
I'll be Wheeler.
You'll be with Dispatch, so I blow him up right here. This has 2 lines. Dawes?
Why don't you, if you could move it to the closer side of the screen for me?
Yeah.
There we go. Here we go. Wheeler. Dispatch, this is Wheeler. All quiet on the Western Front, over.
Copy that, Wheeler. Keep your eyes open out there.
At approximately 11 p.m., Wheeler's attention was drawn to something unusual on the horizon. Wheeler drove up to the top of the nearby hill for a better view. When he got there, he saw something that defied explanation.
Oh my God. Dispatch, are you seeing this?
Thanks for putting the Wisconsin twang on that.
I was trying to get that.
We did.
When I saw, oh my God, I'm like,
so just to set the scene, Doss, you can dig into it now if you want to describe what the hell's going on here.
All right, yeah. So what he's seeing, let's just get it. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the description of it. So what is it? A strange glowing object over small town America. It's 11 p.m. April 22nd, 1976. So there's an orange glow. He believed it was an orange glow from a fire near Tuttle Hill. Sounds familiar to other things we've heard. Orange glowing fire in the distance.
Yeah.
He had over 3 decades in experience of policing. Has served the state of New York and Wisconsin, as well as the 1-man police force. Anyway, we got through that. So he describes it as he could see 6 bluish white lights, as well as several windows or portholes along the side. It was a brilliant orange-white that was like looking at the sun. He continued to watch the scene develop. He noticed an open side panel which allowed him to glimpse inside. Wheeler could see something revolving slowly, which reminded him of a turbine. As his focus shifted to the bottom of the craft, he noticed several legs, in quotes, protruded from the underside. However, more prominent was the black hose-like appendage, which connected to the bottom of the main part of the craft.
Oh, I don't like that.
So this is like a weird ass.
And this
I
is
haven't
about
heard
There's
that
like a
one.
sketch here of it too. Like
this is about 100 feet off the ground. Also.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is like
this is like
50
right the fuck front
50
of them.
to 60 feet in diameter. Shaped.
Mhm.
I one description was shaped like an inverted bowl. Yeah, and just
Yeah.
radiating that fucking intense light.
It's a strange glowing object, and like the details he was able to see of it. And then what do we got?
Well, yeah,
What else we got? The
that's
bluish flash hit the area.
yeah. He watched the crash, so he sees it.
Yeah,
He's like face to face with this thing, and then he just sees it shoot straight into the sky and vanish. Basically, he described it as a light going out.
yeah.
That's one of the 5 observables.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the theory is an attempt at extraction of natural resources. That's what like they think the black hose was for.
Mhm.
It was like projected downwards into the trees below. Whether it went all the way to the ground is unknown. There are, however, several close contact UFO sightings featuring similar black tubes. Most often, these devices are seemingly used to extract water from a supply on the ground, either water tower or a lake or a river.
It almost sounds more like human made. It sounds like some like deep tech kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
no,
you know?
right? Like that's like the
Experimental
way it
military
looks, too.
technology.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dr. J. Allen Hynek, a renowned astronomer and UFO researcher, personally investigates Wheeler's claim, and other witnesses began to come forward corroborating the sighting. So it's like
David
the whole
Moots.
town sees it.
David Moots, he has a story of
Yeah.
he saw Wheeler's car, and yeah,
It's like this almost
This
like
is
sort
more
of
of that.
divided the
He was
town.
just, like, there, too.
At
He's
the
like-
time, there was about half of them were believing him, and half of them like very skeptical, and that's kind of if that becomes a talk to the town, then it really is like it's dividing in a way, and it's But so Wheeler reportedly experienced physical symptoms from the encounter. So kind of it's reminding of the burns on this dude's shirt, Zan's shirt.
Yeah.
I suffered an eye irritation and skin redness in the days following the incident. Which sounds like radiation stuff. There's a lot of different.
that's what I was gonna
There's
say.
other stories of close contact, and then it's just these kind of burn marks like that. The U.S. Air Force, as part of Project Blue Book, officially classified this case as unidentified.
Yeah.
So it's in the books as unidentified people. Basically, and then also just Wheeler was uncomfortable with the attention it brought him. He didn't want this again. It's not like he was trying to.
No, this is like a simple man.
He continued to be a police officer for many years after the incident. Like he just tried to get back to this shit. All right, Then for years after, Elmwood becomes his hotbed for sightings.
Yeah.
There's like more. There's kind of more, but not really. That's kind of like the incident of him just seeing. He was able to just very clearly see a thing, and I guess it's just like,
there's like 4 different like accounts in that same area from like Tuttle Hill.
Yeah.
Like 75. So like there's like I'm not gonna get into the stories, but like there's like the Frederickson, the Forster family encounter, the Wausau incident, the Rivers Falls incident, the Green Men incident, like
the nicest
the
list
Coltrane
there,
UFO picture.
Yeah, whoa.
These are all like I
In
got,
the
like,
same
list here.
area?
This is
Same
all
area,
in like
same
the
time.
same area in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like not far from where we're at.
Yeah, I guess like that's the story. Do you see a bunch of similarities between the two different areas of the world? Pretty much the same time period. There's like also they're both like police basically, which I mean fuck the police, but I think even back then it was more like,
Well, like these
more
small
quote,
town
unquote,
police.
more- yeah,
these
more
aren't
quote,
like
unquote
this isn't
respected.
like the NYPD like
It's just one
LAPD
dude.
shit. This is just a one dude.
Especially
That's like if someone's having like
Yeah,
there's
this
like
is
an
your
emergency.
friend's dad, basically.
Yeah, there's like
I
an
mean,
emergency.
Yeah.
If like someone's like getting at the fucking local bar, someone's getting a little out of hand, getting a little too drunk. He's just the guy that comes and picks him up.
Yeah,
especially
like small town Wisconsin in the
this
70s.
This is just like a guy that like is there in case people's like personal issues get out of hand or something.
So
like,
he's in both cases. These guys are respected. They're not like known to be fucking loons. Like they're just. And actually, we went into a whole series of like police actually like chasing UFOs in the last one. We've been doing. I don't know why we're getting into this vein. I guess I'm just in that pocket right now.
Yeah. Another thing about this thing too is like, so he went to the hospital for 3 days, and they were like doing tests. However, they just like didn't find anything wrong with him. And then after 3 days, he leaves the hospital, but he returned a second time, suffering from intense headaches and bizarre nightmares. He would stay.
No.
Yeah, he would stay this time for 11 days. Again, however, nothing of concern was discovered by the doctors. Eventually, Wheeler was certainly back to his normal self. Dr. Springer, however, would state that the physical ailments that had hospitalized him were certainly not normal for Wheeler.
Yeah, if he's just like a policeman in a small town.
He was like
why
his
is he,
family
like,
doctor too. Like
why
this
does he
guy was
base-
like,
yeah.
Like he was experiencing things that aren't normal, but like he couldn't find like anything.
Like,
that
it
was
seems like a UFO flew above you, sir.
Yeah,
Like, it seems like
Seems
you have
like
all
you're-
the-
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
you're like getting
I
blasted with
yeah.
like some sort of frequency
Honestly,
in your brain.
I should have compiled more. There's like so many encounters where people just have these burns, these inexplicable burns. Some of them actually come out with radiation poisoning. Like it's like what?
That's
Burns.
What
There's,
would
like
that be?
stories of like implants.
Yeah.
Where people are like, yeah, like they like have these like UFO abduction stories, and then they like get these implants like in their eye or something, and then like they like get it surgically removed because they're like, what the fuck, and then it just gets put back there.
Yeah.
And then there's like
there is stories like that.
there's
I
like
fucking
also
hate
stories
that
of
shit.
like there's also like it's like a different
Which that's
like,
why I don't get
ethereal implants. Ethereal implants,
Okay.
where it's like they're like outside of like our dimension, but they're like in your brain. So they
Oh,
can, like,
okay.
So like
That
there's like
works.
these people that have these sightings, and they're like, yeah, they see everything I see.
Because it's okay.
They're watching everything.
Ethereal
I'm watching.
implants.
That's
Now
like
we're
how
talking
they like.
very psychic. Now we're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
very much in this like psychic trauma, like or like
the
things
woo.
overlaid planes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
And it's like
yeah.
so like that's like the idea is like there's like
I like
these
that.
warring factions that are like abducting people and doing this.
That's
Let's put together a report on this.
Yeah.
We're
No, we
kinda-
gotta like do some more research. I would
Let's
love
figure
to.
out. I want to do one on implants and burns, and then like
the burns.
cases
What-
of
what-
different.
What kind of battles are going?
Yeah.
Are we all like unknown soldiers here? Like that's like a thing they talk about too. Is like spiritually, like you like choose to be here, and like by like choosing to be here, you're like giving consent to like have like these experiments done on you as well.
Sure. Yeah.
That's,
just
like,
by
part of
like
it.
being alive in this universe.
Yeah,
where these
yeah.
other
It's like a
things
way.
are
It's
God
like
mode
weird.
on us.
I don't
yeah.
know. It's like part of like
Damn.
the simulation thing too.
I was gonna say the burns always remind me of the. I don't know how to say it, but it's the city or area or region. I don't know what the fuck it is in Brazil. It starts with a V. It's like Varinha or something. But it's like I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. But that happened in the '90s, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
And it
I'll
was
see
like-
if I can. I'll figure out.
There's a
I know what
lot
you're
of
talking
information. Really?
Well, is it? It's not the.
It's the
'cause
one.
It's like the Brazilian, like Roswell incident, basically.
But like way more crazy because it happened in the '90s and like people reported like having burns and shit all over themselves, like they were getting like targeted, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
So that like
there's
that
like,
also like plays
We'll
into.
have you on
like,
next time for that one, Mitch.
There's the one. I think it's Brazil where like there's like they like found this like alien being and this guy, these like military guys like grabbed it and were like taking it to a hospital.
Yeah, that's the
and like
that's
they all just died like within days.
That's the
Okay.
one.
Like
I'm talking
Spoilers
about.
radiation
for next episode, boys. No
Yeah.
more information.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't tell people where to find the
Fuck,
research.
man.
I was just trying to make parallels. Of,
No, you're right
like,
though, and
shit
no,
that-
but I think I want to.
It is also
I
similar.
like covering these like few specific cases. I'm gonna maybe try to open up to just like more broad, like what does the landscape of this like psychic ward look like?
Yeah.
Besides that, okay, so we do have that user submitted, listener submitted demon email.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into that.
Do we want to dig into that? Here's the thing.
Wait, what?
We're gonna take a short break here, and
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
get back to stuff that you sent to us, people. So stay tuned. This is Pumpkinhillradio. I am Travis Wormwood. Got Dawson Trailer and Mitch in the studio. Come on back. All right, and we're back from break. This is Pumpkinhillradio. Before we get into that demon story that I teased about, Mitch has discovered.
I just couldn't remember them. I had to look it up.
Go on.
Yeah.
So what is the word again?
So the 5 observables.
Okay.
This is like if people claim they have a sighting and none of these are present, then there's like pretty like good ways to debunk them. But if the sighting includes some of these, then it's obviously like some fucking other shit.
The
So
first one is
The first one is sudden and instantaneous acceleration.
That's the one we knew, and that's the one that's coming up in these cases.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I like kind of wanted to bring this shit up, and that's like one that the Navy pilot saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
In-
all those
in
like
2017.
UAP reports, all the videos.
Yeah,
are
yeah.
This
That's one.
erratic movement. Yeah.
And then so that the first one, sudden and instantaneous acceleration. Number 2, hypersonic velocities without signatures. So that's like going above the speed of sound, but without
breaking the.
Well,
without like putting
you,
off that.
You can't see like
putting off that supersonic.
You can't
wave
see
or
like the
whatever.
chemtrail or like the contrail or whatever the fuck,
yeah.
and then like jet engines, like flames from jet engines and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, how is it doing this?
Yeah.
Just silently, they're just blasting through the sky.
Like that's the scariest possible motion.
And then 3 is low observability, which is more like radar based. So like if some shit like it'll like pop up on the radar, but then like blip out real quick, or it'll like appear in a different spot, like hard to track with like military equipment, basically. Number 4 is transmedium travel, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like if something comes out of the ocean, or something goes into the ocean
with any like without splashing,
without
or, like,
slowing
down.
or like drives like through a fucking mountain or something.
Yeah.
Shit like that. And then number 5 is positive lift, which was kind of hard for me to understand, but this one from the To the Stars website.
Nice.
Which is, I think that's
Tom Long's thing. Right?
That's Tom Long's thing, yeah.
Nice.
But like this has been, I think
Dude,
it's been
he's
around.
legit.
I think it's been around like longer than that. The positive lift is objects that are apparently resisting the natural effects of Earth's gravity. So that's like floating.
It's like an anti-grav kind of
Yeah, like floating in the same spot for like a long
just
ass
like
fucking
neutral
time.
gravity, maybe.
Yeah,
better
can't.
Word for it.
Yeah, well, I guess it would be positive
Just
because if you're
chilling in the
like
fucking...
regular gravity would be you fall. Positive gravity, I would assume you're staying there.
Yeah.
Maybe neutral gravity. That's a good word, I guess too.
That's like to try to like picture it because
Yeah,
I hear anti-gravity and I'm picturing like a thrust underneath it, and I guess it's just like a completely silent, totally stable thing, just sitting in the sky.
Floating in the weirdest way.
I think
it's like you set something down on the table, but the table is
it's
in
not
the sky.
drifting in the
invisible,
wind.
just
It's
sitting
not,
there,
you know.
Yeah, nice. So those are the 5.
Those are the 5.
Nice. So keep an eye out for those, and like what? Yeah,
check the skies. Check those.
Try to throw those into all my.
Those are like if you see something and it's like doesn't have like if it had like matches that like you like almost instantly can tell.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's more to like. I think it's more to like keep away the whole like if you see like a fucking thing floating through the sky, you don't know what it is. Like
it's how you like vet a story.
It's not a balloon or whatever. You know what I mean?
Or if someone's like, "Whoa, I just saw something weird." And it's like, "Well, let's go down the list. Like, was it this, and this."
Yeah, or like a drone
or
something.
Yeah,
you know?
you probably saw something then.
And if you can identify one of these 5 observables, then like the chances are greater that it's not just a fucking balloon or a drone or some shit.
You gotta
like
go
that.
a little deeper on the strangeness on the story.
So it's got more like there's like criteria to like help you not determine what it is, but
discern what the hell. Yeah, just being able to discern a little bit more at least.
Like rule out certain things.
We'll try to throw those into our cases from now on if we can help it.
Let's get into this demon story.
All right.
Are demons aliens?
Well, let's get into it.
Let's go, Travis.
I'm gonna just read this verbatim.
You tell me, Travis.
And this is a user submitted.
Yeah, this is an email we got,
or a listener submitted story.
This guy, I put a thing on Threads.
Yeah, they want to say anonymous. I don't believe. Don't let people lead them.
Okay,
it's all good.
Well, yeah, okay.
Stories of demons. Please keep my name anonymous.
Okay, yeah.
But if you want anything like this to be read, throw it on Threads or email us anything, any questions, and we'll go into it.
Yeah.
I just want to keep them safe, you know.
Yeah,
They seem like they're on the edge already. All right.
Hit us with the email.
I'd like to preface this by saying that I have not been diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or any other type of severe mental illness that causes hallucinations or hearing of voices. I am under psychological care for some things, but do not have a severe disorder of any kind. The manifestations I have experienced also do not match any descriptions of those who suffer with such disorders, and some have been confirmed by a friend of mine who was present with me on some of them. I don't know how he could have seen what I sensed when I told him nothing. I am Christian. I have had quite a few encounters with demons or demonic forces in one way or another. I've been sensitive to spirits for a long time, but I didn't know it for many years. I thought I was just being silly or crazy when I would get those creepy feelings. These stories may appeal to the most of you, your Christian listeners. All right, you Christian listeners, listen up. Most of the time, it's a general thing. There's a Marshalls at the local strip mall that is crawling with demons. I can't stay in there for more than a few minutes at a time without being terrified and wanting to run away. Another place is the convenience store that's always given me a creepy feeling. Ever since it was built, the area used to be a cornfield. I try to avoid that particular location at all costs. One of the early encounters is a simple one. There's an old brick farmer's market in the middle of the town. When I lived nearby, I'd sometimes ride my bicycle to buy things there. There's brick walls all around. Usually I'd pedal around the front of the building to go home, but one day I decided to go around the back instead. I felt very frightened, like I was going to get jumped, and I pedaled out of there fast. Sometime later, I looked at the city's ghost tours and guessed where one of the spots was located. The market used to be the fire station around 200 years ago, and there was supposedly ghostly activity back then. Another situation would occur when I'd sometimes drive through the town at night. I didn't like going through the square, so I'd turn early. At one particular spot, I'd always get the heebie-jeebies. I'd try to calm myself down and tell myself it was nothing. Then one day I realized that the road ran behind the Opera House, which is another spot on the ghost tour, and said it had a lot of spiritual activity. However, some of the stories are far more personal. Here's one that I'd like to share. I went back to school late, around age 30. I attended a technical school where there were very few female students, and so most of us women, myself included, had private dorm rooms. During that time in my life, I was coming out of my very dry spiritual time where I slipped in my relationship with Christ. Some Christians might call it a desert time. I'd always been a strong Christian, but I had gone through a bad experience at my previous church and had left. Long story short, I reconnected elsewhere and decided to read the Bible more and pray more deliberately. Well, shortly after applying myself to this, I had a rather scary demonic encounter. I was in my little dorm room, sitting at the desk and working on my English project on my laptop. All of a sudden, I sensed something materialize on my right-hand side, away from the window. It wasn't particularly big, but it was tall, around 6 or 7 feet, around 6.5 to 7 feet. It felt like it was standing there glaring at me, and it was full of hatred and anger toward me. I ignored it and went back to my work. I was pretty freaked out. I thought maybe I was just being silly and imagined something. It stood there for a bit and continued to glare at me, and then, well, it spoke. It wasn't audible, but it was absolutely clear in my head, as if I had been spoken to aloud. The best way to describe it was a thought that was absolutely not mine. It said very clearly, "You fucking little Christian." To say I was scared is a bit of an understatement. I don't remember exactly what I said, what I did. I think I prayed a lot and listened to some Christian music or something. Eventually, it just sort of went away. I didn't experience anything much the following year, 2017 to 2018, which was when my most demonic encounters took place. The previous year, a new outside group had been permitted to start Bible studies on campus. I'd been attending and made friends with one of the young men in the group. He was intelligent and eager to learn about the theology and faith, but no one had ever really taught him. So that year, I started to teach him about once a week. We would meet in the college library, usually in the back. It had tables and chairs and was a bit more private without going into a separate room. Most of our studies were pretty typical. I'd see if he had questions, and if not, I'd bring up something I thought he would like to learn. We talked about all kinds of Christian topics, and eventually I gained his trust.
I think I know where this is going. Maybe.
One day, my friend admitted to me that he had been talking to demons regularly and had been going almost all of his life. They would speak to him telepathically, giving him warped theology and supposedly telling him the future. I told him they looked like solid silhouettes. He told me they looked like solid silhouettes. Unlike with most shadow people experiences, though, my friend was able to look directly at them and speak back to them telepathically. Oh, I'm getting shivers, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, a little quick break. How we feeling so far?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. I gotta take a breath. I'm scared, man. I'm reading this thing.
You want to tap out?
When he was through explaining this,
Popcorn.
he asked me. When he was through, we'll do that next time for sure. I'll get you a reading of this so we can all get involved. When he was through explaining this, he asked me what I thought. I began to tell him that I thought it was unwise to be talking to demons. As I began to speak, I felt like someone else entered the area where we were sitting. Not wanting to freak out another student, I twisted around to look, but nothing was there, so I laughed it off and continued my talk. I felt like something was standing behind my chair, and I felt more and more oppressed as I kept talking. It was like a heaviness, really, like it had a big hand on top of my head. Finally, I got another one of those thoughts that wasn't mine. In an irritated tone, it said, "Shut up." I broke off speaking and looked away at a big square pillar. My friend asked, "You sense something?" I responded, "Yeah, they're telling me to shut up." He said they were talking to him too, and they were trash-talking me. He said that they had entered exactly when I first sensed something, but he didn't tell me because he didn't want me to freak out. I tried to continue, but the oppression was still there, and again I heard in my mind, "Shut up." It was more empathetic this time. It was more empathetic this time, so I gave up and walked. Emphatic. I was like, that's not the right word.
Yeah. That made me.
It was more emphatic this time, so I gave up and we talked about something else. This next story happened a few days after that teaching session. I normally pray aloud when I am saying my daily prayers. It helps me focus, among other things, so I'm sitting in my bed in my dorm room and saying my prayers, when all of a sudden my mind went completely blank. Nothing too scary there. I was tired, and my mind suddenly going blank wasn't too out of the ordinary. So I recentered my thoughts, remembered where I had left off praying, and went to start praying again. And I could not speak. The words were in my head, but trying to get them out of my head to my mouth wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. I tried to speak and just not be able to do so. I chalked it up to tiredness or stress. I tried to say something and realized I could still speak other words. I laughed and tried again. Still nothing. I could talk but not speak prayers. I was very confused and thought it might be a demonic attack. I texted my friend. I told him what was going on and asked him to pray for me. After a couple minutes, I was able to speak my prayers again and finished up. The next time I saw my friend, I mentioned what happened. He told me that after we had had a talk about not speaking to demons anymore, they had come to him and told him, "We're going to get her for that." I do firmly believe it was a demonic attack. That, however, was the only time I was affected physically. At some point, I told him to tell me if they were hanging around. The most serious attack came a few months later. I remember that I had planned to teach my friend something about Satan and its true nature. I was going to use a passage from Isaiah and Ezekiel. The night before that session, I was in bed and I felt like there was a lot of demons hanging around my room. I was pretty scared. I prayed and some went away. I prayed again and some more left, and so on. Eventually, I felt like there was just one demon left in the room glaring at me. I thought I was just afraid and worked up because of what I wanted to teach my friend the next day, so I went to sleep. When I woke up, I could sense the demon was still standing by my bed glaring at me. Jesus. I got up and went to the class. It was still there when I returned. I sat at my desk with my back turned to it and opened up my Bible for my daily reading. Then I turned to one passage and wanted to discuss. At that moment, the demon instantly zipped over and latched onto my shoulder. This is one thing that the movies and TVs get right. They can move instantaneously. It wasn't like it walked over or flew over. It just bang. It was clung into my shoulder. I was terrified, but again, I couldn't see anything. I finished up, took my Bible, and walked to the library. I was early, so I went to the end of the circular desk. It was a U-shape, and began working on the jigsaw puzzle laid out there for students to entertain themselves. I fully expected my friend to come up and ask, what's that thing on your shoulder?" I looked up when my friend entered. He greeted me from the door and didn't come over to me. I was trying to act like everything was fine. I walked up and told him we'd been meeting at a different table because the back table was in use. He followed about 10 feet behind me, which was strange, because he usually walked right beside me. We sat and I began explaining something. He said he had a question, so I said, "Sure, what's up?" He looked me right in the eyes and asked, "Do you sense something? Can you feel anything?" I looked slowly over my shoulder, then said to him, "It's right over my shoulder, isn't it?" He confirmed, and I told him yes. I could sense it, and it had been hanging around since that night before. He said he'd seen it when he came in. We prayed over it, but it didn't go away. This one was pretty strong. We could both sense that it wanted to, I'm not sure how to say this, but it had this desire. Like it wanted to swallow or devour me. Or who I was, like my essence. I know that's a stupid way to put it, but it's the best way I can describe it. Its desire was stronger than hunger, more like lust, but it wasn't sexual. Lust isn't a strong enough word. Actually, I don't even really have strong enough words in English to describe how much it wanted to devour me. That demon didn't leave me alone until later in the day. I did mention that to my friend, and I did mention that my friend can see demons and that they looked like shadows or silhouettes. This one was different. He told me later that it had been fully formed. He didn't get a good look at it because he didn't want to look at it for obvious reasons. I'll add one more story to mine. One that my friend told me. One day he explained that he and his roommate were being harassed by an evil spirit in their dorm room. He told me that one night he had awakened and saw his roommate standing over his bed. He laughed and asked his roommate why he was up. He asked him if he had gotten up to use the bathroom. His roommate didn't say anything and went over and leaned over to the other bed. That was when my friend realized that his roommate was in the bed. The shadow was an evil spirit. The next day, his roommate said he'd been having a bad nightmare. He wanted to scream out for his friend, but was stuck and couldn't move or speak. He had been terrified.
Dude.
My friend wanted me to come pray over the room. I was flattered, but I explained to him that I didn't have any special powers. He and his roommates were both Christians. I told him that I wanted to get to his roommate. And that they should pray over the situation together. He agreed to do so. the following week, I asked him how things were. He told me it took maybe 3 days, but the demons had gone away and left them alone. Another entity had come, but wasn't harassing them. And I told him it may have been an angel sent there to help him.
Nice.
They never had a problem again. Please tell your listeners that demons and evil spirits are very real and that it's not safe to play around with them or try to attract them. It's not fun or exciting like in the movies. It's really, really scary, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
All right, a round of applause there.
Great
Sending that
story.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That last part is literally, I'm pretty sure I told it on the podcast, what happened when I lived with you
Yes.
and Jack.
Yeah, that actually never aired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, secret cast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can say it if you want, or you can save it for another episode.
Well, no, it's not even like close to the whole story.
Well,
just
how
the
are you
ending
feeling
part.
about that? Like, whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had sleep paralysis that reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah.
Kind of shit.
Well, yeah, just like the constantly seeing demons and stuff, though.
Yeah, like the whole
Like the whole story.
the whole
Is that like
until it got to like my roommate was standing over me. That's something that's completely foreign to me. But the part where it was like my roommate was standing over me, that literally happened to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, the whole first part, like being awake I'm assuming during the day or evening, not like in the fucking wee hours of the
Yeah,
night.
it seemed like it was like normal, like studying, like class
Yeah.
hours,
You're just during the day type shit. I don't know about that. That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it says in they wrote out that they didn't have any special powers. I'm gonna go ahead and say, person who submitted this, you might have special powers,
You might
or
have
at
the
least
sight.
a sense.
You have like
that's
the
what
sight.
I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Or
have
like
the-
it's like
yeah.
a shining kind of a thing. You know,
Yeah.
you have a thing and it's gonna attract things that
It's just
want
gonna
that.
attract things that want that. Yeah,
Things
like,
that want to like take that power and
Yeah.
use it. You know, or
Um,
like manipulate you into using things. So shouts out for like staying strong, not like
yeah. Thanks for typing that whole thing up.
letting
and
them
sending it
take
our way. Definitely, we're here to help in any way. If you have anything you need us to do, I
But
guess
also-
besides just read this out. But yeah, definitely other listeners.
the friends they have that like
Watch it.
that prayed and like got rid of it, and like another one who's like wasn't like bad. It was just
Mhm.
hanging out. Like, oh, maybe that was an angel. I'm like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because that kind of reminds me of like whatever is at like the Kava bar. No one says it's like a bad, like malevolent. It's not like angry or anything.
Well,
it's just
when
like
we were there, it's like I just felt old. It just felt
Just
old and
hanging out.
like hard to communicate with, and like maybe a little sassy, maybe. But
yeah.
I was most of it in the library, or was that just one part?
yeah, that was most of it.
The
Most of
library.
it they were doing Bible study in the library, basically.
Okay.
And then it
well,
was,
but
like,
some of it was
their
in the dorm,
apartment,
though, I guess.
too.
I was
Yeah.
trying to maybe think if like it was like a location based thing, but I guess
Yeah.
if it's multiple places, maybe not.
I'm pretty sure demons are everywhere.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
no,
think they
yeah,
follow
as
people
far
around,
yeah, it's good
too.
to try to place it around.
I was just trying to like
Um,
follow the.
Yeah, no, it seems like yeah. Well, I don't even really have much to offer here besides just like shouting it out for y'all and
good
like
story.
just to hear it and like yeah. Again, thanks for sending it in. I appreciate the story and like the warning to other listeners basically
Mhm.
because
Well,
Yeah.
it seems
Fuck
like
around.
a dark version of like those UFO stories, like the UFO
yeah,
abduction.
I mean,
like,
I don't know if the listeners could hear some of the similarities between the earlier stories and this one,
Yeah.
but like I definitely caught on to a couple things that are happening
Yeah.
that were like
just like
yeah.
you know, it's like opposites.
I mean,
almost,
you asked
know what I
before
mean?
I read it. You're like, "Are demons just aliens?" Like, in
Yeah.
a way, yes. Or if we talk about like, if we're just talking about like,
I think that's like the cultural like
yeah. Well, it
description
almost
of
is
it
like,
you call it a demon, but like
at the beginning of the episode.
they're
we
all
talked
these
about
same like
Smile,
entities,
too,
you know.
and it's like
yeah.
these other entities, you know.
Is
What
it-
that's
are
just like
they
a pop culture
angels?
thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as far as-
Fallen angels, like
Yeah.
who knows, man?
You have
Like,
to interpret shit as like, because you interpret shit from shit that you already know.
Yeah.
So if like some freaky shit's happening to you, and you're
Yeah.
Christian or you're Muslim or you're Jewish or whatever, like if some freaky shit happens to you, you're gonna interpret that through.
Yeah. It's like a cultural lens
Through your-
that like it
And
comes
that's
through,
also
you know what I
not
mean?
to
Like,
say that you're wrong about it either, though.
That's what I.
Because you're just as a human, you just need a filter.
It's like how like
these
anyone's
types
gonna
of
see that.
encounters, it's
Yeah.
a 5D shape, and you just need a filter to even see
Yeah.
it. Like
yeah.
That's why
Like
what
the
I meant.
point of
Yeah,
like creating
definitely.
like the religious like filters and
Uh-huh.
cultural filters. That's
just
why
to,
like people are more prone to like they're like oh, that's a ghost,
Yeah.
because that's like what would make more sense in their mind to like perceive it as like a thing. Otherwise it's like it's so just so out there.
Yeah,
It's just,
these.
it's out
Yeah, they're like talking about shadow people though. That's interesting to get it thrown in there. A lot of.
Yeah.
The fully formed demon is very interesting. I'm glad the dude didn't look at it because it probably would have got him or some shit. But
Oh,
I mean,
that's like
to see that, to look upon that, probably.
Fed off of it.
Yeah.
And also, it seems like they're like scaring them. Like it's scary, and that's gonna like feed off of it more.
Yeah.
Feeds off of that like fear.
Well, yeah,
That's what I was gonna bring
She
up.
went to bed
It
with the
drains
thing in her
you,
bed,
yeah.
like with the thing looking over her. She got up, went to class, came back, and it was still there. Like that's a powerful thing.
Yeah,
That's fucking powerful.
it's terrifying.
So keep your wits about you, listener who submitted that,
But
and
honestly,
do your
that's
best.
Shout out to that listener.
Yeah,
That
shout out.
reply, very brave to just kind of like deal with that.
Yeah.
Holy shit. you
Yeah,
know?
holy shit.
Holy shit.
You're doing fine.
So I had
Keep on
sleep
trucking.
paralysis, but I haven't had it like in the waking.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
I haven't had that.
Well, thanks for sending that in again. Maybe we'll visit that kind of topic again soon, but stay tuned shortly for like
we'll get some more replies going too. I'm gonna throw something on. See
we'll
if I
get that.
can't get anything.
I think
cool.
for now though, we're gonna try to close this bitch out.
Yeah,
How-
I think that was a
been a
good,
good
solid.
episode.
Nice.
So on that note, yeah, rate us 5 stars wherever you can. Tell your friends about us. Tell your friends to stay away from demons, or at least be safe when you're working with them.
Yeah. They're real.
Send us your stories, anything like we just read, to pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. It can be a 3-page story like that, or just one sentence, whatever you want to do. That person got an A+ for effort there at least, so you know what I mean. But send whatever you need to, and then, well, no, I mean I don't mean another thing. I just mean like people don't usually submit like
I just
they're literally
I
like,
just laugh because
yeah.
A+ for effort normally means that you did not do a good job.
I did a good job. I mean, they're
No,
fighting demons. They're doing
Genuinely
fine.
A+.
Yeah. No,
Support
that was terrifying.
Very well.
Support our Patreon, patreon.com/pumpkinhillradio. You can get a bonus episode there every month. If 4 isn't enough, 5 might do you. And we got some other stuff there. Prints are at pumpkinhillradio.etsy.com. Code SECRET for 25% off. Orders of $25 or more. Dawson, what's the code they use at w.gg for 10% off?
Star Mother.
Star Mother. That's right.
Hit Star Mother. Get the W. It's nice.
Yeah, and I think we already shouted out Apopo. Go ahead and visit them. Check out the link tree in the description for to get me and Dawson's threads. That's where we're going to be replying to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Check out all the socials that we're everywhere. Oh, and that's the last quick housekeeping thing. You might have noticed that the actual name on the podcast has changed a little bit. You notice that?
Wait, what?
I didn't notice that.
I did some SEO stuff. So actually there's a little more in the description. And the name is Pumpkin Hill Radio, like paranormal mysteries, conspiracies, and history.
Okay.
Just so easy, just for easy searchability.
Yeah.
So we are just PHR, but I put some stuff under the heading just so we got
I
a little
see.
more, just so it's like easier to search for, basically.
Visibility.
Yeah, basically. So if you notice something is weird, that went along with when we got the duplicate pod last week. I was like, I gotta change some stuff up and see what's going on here.
Nice.
Yeah, nice job, boys. Thanks for hanging out. This has been a nice Halloween type roundtable.
Yeah, dude.
Now we only got one more episode in the Halloween season. We might do a Halloween bonus. We'll see what the hell happens with timing. I know Dawson's gonna be out of here for a few weeks after that.
We should.
Yeah, we'll get something going. I got a lot of spooky Halloween stuff. I got more Halloween lore. I didn't drop any today. And I've been doing like a weird hypothetical case study on the Striders of Antarctica.
Oh, nice.
Which just like some like cryptozoology at its finest. Just me like frantically googling like how big a spider can get, basically.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I did just a quick buzzword for you though. Abyssal gigantism is something that scares the shit out of me now, and it's it's just the proclivity of things in the deepest part of the ocean to be gigantic. And
honestly, scarier than
making
space,
monsters. Yeah, that's where you're gonna find the monsters. On that note, you just heard all the plugs. This has been Travis Wormwood, Dawson Trailer, and Mitch for Pumpkin Hill Radio. See you next time.
I love you.